racing for a position. The more they race side by side, the better it's going to be for us. And unfortunately, that does not help us right there. We went in way too high. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Wreckfest. That's right, I'm your host with the most, TheChronicToast. Today we are diving right back into the career that we've got going on, specifically the Pro Internationals. Now, we are a little bit a ways, just over 800 points from completing out this Pro Internationals and being able to go into the top tier series that's available. And in the meantime, we've got a lot of stuff that we could pick and choose from. Now, a lot of these are going to be fun little tiny one-off races, smaller series, challenges, things like that in order to unlock cars like the Boomer RS, which is pretty fantastic. But tonight in particular, because that's when I am recording this episode, we're going to be taking a look at Demolition Racing Series, the Speed Hunters 6 tarmac races. Now, this in particular is going to be pretty darn cool. The restrictions are A-Class, American, European, and Japanese or Asian, as it were, depends on how the game classifies it up. And the description states, only the fastest need to apply. The fastest cars and drivers battle it out on the most demanding tarmac tracks that require every ounce of bravery to master and conquer. Now that's pretty darn exciting. I gotta be honest. Doesn't quite come through with a voice because I'm really exhausted. I'm recording this at the end of a very long day. Mini Toast has not been giving me any rest. But we are here to film a video, have some fun, and make some content for YouTube along the way, and able to share it with you amazing, wonderful ladies and gents and people that are out there watching. So let's dive on in. Now, these are very interesting. As we've seen before, these are now 6-lap races. Now, that can get a little bit crazy and hairy. So when we have been doing realistic damage previously, and while that is a lot of fun, there are hardly any cars left on some of these tracks, just as they get clogged up and stuff like that. So we are likely going to be decreasing the damage down from realistic to intense. Now, that's important to note simply because, it's going to change up a little bit of the dichotomy that we're going to be seeing. And we'll go over that here in a second. But this first race is going to be Fire Rock Raceway, main circuit, 1.2 miles, 100% tarmac, 6 laps, 24 grid series, and it's going to be a single heat, which is cool. We're going to be selecting the Sunrise Super. This is a car we haven't raced very much before, and is a fun racing car. It kind of reminds me of the car that, the main character from movie Cars is based off of. Pachow, all that fun stuff. Lightning McQueen, I think it is. It's kind of what this car reminds me of, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It's also rear wheels, so we will see. Now, standings-wise, take a look here. We are a 256 rated car. There are some that are higher than us, and there are a few that are lower than us, but not many. So we are going to be up against a very rough series, and we might not make it through this, but fingers crossed, we'll see what we can do. Now, of course, we are racing the Sunrise Super. You can see it in the black and white paint scheme over there. I'm really excited about it. It looks really nice. Now, options, we are on realistic, but we're going to drop it down to intense. Now, I do think it's important to note and cover what that actually means. So going from realistic down to intense, you are still going to receive the same amount of damage from other cars to yourself. And so car-on-car action is still going to heavily deform the cars, potentially deal a lot of damage to the wheels, the chassis, things like that. You can lose your wheels and so on and so forth. However, damage that you yourself do to other cars if you are the aggressor versus on the receiving end is lessened a little bit, and overall damage to and from the environment around you is lessened a little bit. But overall, everything else is still the same. The ability to lose wheels, so on and so forth. It can still be pretty darn crazy. But I just wanted to bring that up in case you were wondering. The reason we're doing this is because going from 3 laps to 6 laps, we want to keep some of the field around so it can be a bit more of a fun race. So we're going to dive on in. We're going to see what this looks like. We're going to see how this goes. Fire Rock Raceway is not my personal best track. There's a lot of fun stuff to do here, but there's also potentially some corners that I haven't really managed to get through all that well. Now, our car, again, is the black and white number 44 Rockfield. I love it. It looks fun. It looks like a blast, and it drives like a dream. Going again into the difficulty, we are custom, automatic, half off, half and expert. Always got to make sure the AI difficulty is expert. And the tune here that we're running is going to be a little bit longer in the teeth. You can see we're 8.2 acceleration, 8.3 top speed. Cornering is really aggressive at 7.2, and our strength is not very good at all, but it's a lot of fun. So let's dive on in. All day, every day, here we go. Watch those rear wheels spin. There they go. Bada bing, bada boom. And off to the races. I would like to kind of cut on the in between here, this left and right lane. But again, I also don't want to get caught out. And we just got wrecked hard from the backside. Not ideal, but there was nowhere really to go. Again, we're not necessarily racing very, very clean, but I'm not going to try to drive right through people. Spinning people out and occasionally and stuff, not too bad, not too worse of a thing that's in the world. But you know what? I do want to make sure that we are racing relatively okay and not trying to purposely drive through people. Again, the first race with a new vehicle always usually gets me caught out just a little bit on, how good or not good the brakes are. Striker & Co. over there with that amazing Tiger paint scheme. It looks really good. Unfortunately, trying to put that paint scheme inside of our car. Now remember, for this race, ladies and gents, for the first time in probably this whole series, we are running up against cars that are rated equivalent to us, give or take. Now, what I've said before is that a car that's rated lesser than you can definitely go up and do a lot of good racing and 100% can beat you on the track. That's especially true as well for cars that are equivalently rated for you, as well as above and beyond. And while it's not always true, it is something to be cognizant of, because if you're not careful, a little bit of ground given up here will definitely come back to haunt you. Now we are trying to get around Nerd here, NRDE. Interesting name, interesting spelling. They are holding us up a little bit here, but there's not much that we can do. We can try to get around the outside, and we do make the pass. But again, they're probably going to come up here on the bottom here, as this corner is not a good one for us as well. It's hard to keep the speed up coming out of there. And it looks like they're getting into traffic behind us, which is all right. We are currently sitting in fourth behind Hollywood Hank and Shrimpolino, I think. It's a weird name. Oh, I'm reading the I'm reading the position ranks up there. Got a little bit off course, but we are making this work. Lap 2 out of 6. The goal here is to get around Hollywood Frank. I think we can definitely do it. They've got a really good straight line speed, a little bit more than us with their gearing, but see the brake lights come on there. We have a little bit more of them through the corner until the back end steps out. The Sunrise Super does like to handle consistently, but if you're not careful, you can push it beyond that line, and it likes to snap free a little bit there. And so this car is a lot of fun. It's very consistent, but it's hard to get the back end put down with the power always. But the transition from left to right is really, really nice. We're going to try to go on the outside, same way as I did with Nerd, but it didn't quite work. Touching the brake, getting around to go, and we're going through the tires. Not very ideal. That might clear it up for the next few races, but unfortunately for us, it is, it's not doing that great. We got Ice Sailor way back behind us. That is a fun, cool name, about 3 seconds back. So we do have some people that can take advantage of us if we mess it up. Unfortunately, Polino is up there, is just stretching the lead and walking away from us as we're going side by side here with Hollywood Hank. Golly gee whiz, closing the door on. It's got those side pipes up there. And again, this is a good, solid battle. Hitting the brakes, trying to cut on the inside if we can. They are slamming the door pretty hard. This is a good AI race up here. This is definitely a car that knows what they're doing. They're getting a little bit sideways. They've got the power. And we're just trying to bide our time to get in here. We're trying to work on this. We are right on their bumper, trying to make this count. And they're actually surprisingly getting through us a little bit there. Oh boy, running us through the paces. Words are hard when you're racing. Give them a little bit of a love tap there on the back end. Try to let them know we're here. Trying to go wide did not work. Just trying to get around this car. Now, we could dump them. That's true, absolutely. But unfortunately, we have not gotten into a good spot that would not just be driving through the corner into them. There's a slight door slam. That worked out all right. Can we make it count? There we go. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. And there is our first vehicle in the wall that I can see. I believe that's the Hammerhead over there, the big old station wagon. Reminds me of the late 70s, early 80s style, but not quite the style that you'd see in like that 70s show and stuff like that. So now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's more of a Skoda style station wagon. Hard to say. But needless to say, we're going to keep racing, we're going to keep rolling, and we're going to try to stretch our lead here and close the gap. We will see how it goes. We are in second place. Unfortunately, Shrimpolino is 8 seconds ahead of us. It's not going to end very well. And Hollywood Hank is not too far behind us, but we will see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, we just flipped it. We made a mistake. There goes Hollywood Hank. No, correction. There goes Ice Sailor and Hollywood Hank. Oh boy, we cut that corner a little bit too tight. I was trying to get caught up here, just kind of finish these laps and get into second place, but now we have a largely insurmountable amount of stuff to work through. This is unfortunate, but it's all part of the racing. One of the things we're going to have to take a look at too, we're pegging off the rev limiter just a little bit here on the top of gear 2 and gear 3 on this car, and so it's something that we will have to keep an eye on. We might have to try to get this car either to go a little bit taller or a little bit shorter in the gears. Now, we'll have to mess with that. We'll see how that goes. Usually I don't like to mess with those too much, but it's definitely going to be detrimental for the most part with this car. We'll see. We'll go another race and kind of see what it looks like. Oh, there is a massive collision up here with Hollywood Hank. Can we make this work for us? I think we can. We're coming up here to the last corner. Oh, we blew it a little bit. Here we go. Power down, power down. Hollywood Hank is back there. We are in third, so it's not the end of the world. And Ice Sailor up there getting a good, solid second place finish. I'm not really sure what happened. I'm guessing I put Hollywood Hank back on the wall, but there it is, crossing the finish line. Oh, baby. Not too shabby. 58.247 for the seconds. And that's way, way, way off the pace from Shrupalino up there. And Speedy, the little tiny miniature car, the little mini, doing 55.844. Overall, we're not too shabby. We're a little faster than half the field, but we have some competition up by us. And that's all right. Got the Sport Intake Manifold for the Road Cutter. That's another car I really enjoy. We're going to have to run that here in one of the future series coming up. That's a lot of fun. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have the ESPEDALEN Speedway coming up next. Now, standings and garage and options. We're going to come over here to the tune on this car. And I think the gear ratio, we could go up a little bit more, or we could go down. I'm going to try going down a little bit. We'll swap out some gearing on this vehicle, pushing it a bit closer to standard, seeing if we can't quite get through that rev limit there just a wee little bit, because that's an important thing. We're hanging out on the top of that gear a little bit too long, and we're losing a little bit of power. Now, we are here in third place, 30 points back, with a Speedy and a Starbeast ahead of us, and a Rammer and a Road Cutter and a Rammer behind us. Again, I've said it before, the Rammer is a solid choice. It is a good race car that will serve you well through many, many series and upgrades all the way through. The first car you should buy, in my opinion, is always going to be the Rammer. Now, let's see what we can do with ESPEDALEN Raceway. This is a fun track. Again, I'm not particularly good at it, and this car is not the best, but it should be all right. Watching those rear wheels spin on up. Here we go. We're going to cut it inside just a little bit, but not too far. That's a very hard barrier. And coming up here, we should be able to cut through. There we go. In on the inside. There it is. There it is. We just barely made it through. Now, can we make it? So we've got Nerd up here, and someone called Umi, Mac, not really sure. But we got Strike and Co up front. That is the car that has been aggressive with us before and running us off the road. Brakes, onto the inside, trying to get this car to turn without actually causing the back end to step out too far. Oh, man, we are all over the place. Bad mistakes, bad stuff right there. Shrupalino spinning out across the track, pinballing back and forth. Our back end is all kicked in. That is very, very painful. Hitting the brakes, into the gas, turning it. Just trying to get this car to actually maneuver without overstepping the back end is a little more difficult than I expected. It's much more of a car that really, really loves large rhythm tracks, just because of kind of the way it's at. Just doing all right. We're kind of getting up into that fourth gear. We're doing okay. Hitting the brakes, pivoting around. There we go. We're doing all right. Into the grass a little bit. That's all right. We are getting through the gears quite a bit better. We're not quite hammering into second and third, but we are getting into fourth a bit more. And I'm not really sure if that is slowing us down or not. It is definitely throwing us off a little bit with our gassing as we're going through the corners, being in a slightly different gear than I would expect, but I think we're going to make it work. We can use those rumble strips to turn a little bit. Again, Nerd up there, this is a good solid set of race cars that we're racing up against, and it's something that we just got to keep in mind and keep a track of as we're going, because these are individuals that are not fooling around. They are good AI. They are definitely good cars to be racing, and we have a slight gap on Ice Sailor. That is who we are racing for position right now. And if we can, see Nerd's going wide, and here we go. We're going to brake a little bit more than they will, so we can hopefully get through this corner, cut it down, swing over, get over the other side, transition and power down. We didn't quite get through there. We tried to take a slightly different line to try to use that to our advantage. But we were coming up here. Tap Nerd a little bit on the backside there. They broke a little earlier than I thought. The yellow wheels look really, really nice. An odd compliment to make, but oh man, we have completely overshot this corner. There we go. And Nerd is coming up right behind us. Our car is just wrecked hard. So here we go. Tap the brakes. Try to get on the inside without wrecking it. If we get on the outside over there, you can see the whoops over in the sand. You can make that work, but not with this car setup. Oh gosh, there's a dead Mini, or not a dead Mini, a Mini with lost a wheel over there on the track, and Strike and Co. full on send right into the beginning of it. And there we go. just kind of turning into our line there, and we have made a move, which worked all right. We didn't drive through anybody. We did a little bit of a pit maneuver. We made it work, but Nerd is right there back on our tail. A pretty equivalently paced car with us, but something we got to be careful of. And here we go, late braking, turn it in. Here we go, throttle, throttle, throttle. We do not want that rear end to get hooked. Nerd is looking to get us spun out of the track, trying to basically return the favor that we did at Strike and Co back there as well. And here we go, feather the throttle, power down, and brakes. A little late, feather the throttle. We can stay on the outside of the track. There we go. Not the best line, not the fastest line, but we're making it work. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to be a good, solid way to go. We just got to stay clean, rolling through here, and keep our distance, and we'll be all right. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, beef sack. Oh, not ideal. Not good. There comes Strike and Co right back on up. My guess is beef sack back there is just missing a wheel, not able to go. Probably is bent up in such a way that, the chassis is just not letting those wheels get down with the power to the track. But Strike and Co going way up there all over the track. So we'll see what happens. Oh, man. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go across the line. First place, not too shabby, with a best lap of 103.058. Not the fastest line. That actually goes to Shrimpolino over there and the Speedy, but they finished back in 10th. Now, Ice Sailor, who we are racing for position, finished in second behind us, Nerd as well. So it is something to keep in mind. It is what we got to have going on here. You can see Strike and Co and the Hollywood Hank have the same logo here for their individuals. So might be racing up against a team. We'll have to keep an eye on them. Not too shabby. Our car's generally in one piece. Because of the damage settings, we're not taking as much damage, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Again, we're doing it for, the ability for the AI to actually finish the race, but, it is something to keep in mind that they're a little bit different. Now, again, our next race here is going to be MotoCity Circuit, main circuit, 6 laps, single heat. This, again, is not the best race for this particular car, but we're going to see what happens. Standings-wise, we are in first, 10 points ahead of Ice Sailor. Tripolina is a little bit further back. Again, they finished in 10th, but all it's going to take for them is to do a few more consistent races, and they should be able to catch up to us. So, fingers crossed, it won't be too crazy. Now, we're going to leave our gearing where it is. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how this works. So far, we've been getting through the gears a little bit better, which is nice. And we're just going to see what happens. Oh, man. Rockfield Automobile. Here we go. We're going to kind of come up here a little bit. Oh, we just got squeezed hard. Oh, gosh. Chaos. John Burning and Ice Tracks. Oh, man, we are up against the wall. There are just cars everywhere. Oh, Ice Tracks is just in the middle of nothing. That is no fun to be in there getting spun around. Our car's a little bit smushed up, but we're all right. We're doing okay. You can see that the light covers up there have been wrecked up, but that's all right. You mean Mad Mac back there, and Nerd is in first place, and Hollywood Hank is up there in 5th. Something to keep in mind. This is going to get a little bit hairy. This is definitely going to be a tight technical race. Hollywood Hank right here in front of us. Again, we're not going to try to drive through people, but we do want to make sure we can get through this relatively clean for our own safety, as well as being able to get up there consistently. We got a lot of laps to go here, and if we get a rival, this is going to make things a little bit worse. Oh man, Mad Mac down there getting around us with that Hammerhead. No surprise there. The Hammerhead is a pretty nimbly car. It's got a lot of weight on the back end, which can cause problems at higher speeds on some of these tracks. But here, this is definitely going to help it turn a little bit better. Now, if this was closer to simulation racing, those rear wheels would be well overheating, as the body roll and stuff like that definitely would be causing those to have bad things happen. And out into the outside wall, we just slid into that. Oh, pancake that all the way up. That did not feel good. And John Burning and a lot of other cars back there are trying to take advantage of that. Tap the brake, pivot around. Here we go. Slide through. Now, if we're lucky, we should be able to shoot this gap. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Full speed and into the brakes because of the extra speed. And there we are, all the way around the corner, and try to get going. We are in 7th out of 24th place, and if we're lucky, we'll continue to maintain this in the top 10. This is not the best car or the car setup for this track, as well as mixed up with my driving habits, so it is well aware that this is something that we have a situation that we got to work through on absolutely all day, every day. But we're going to do what we can and take, basically the goal is to show up and take advantage of any situations that allow us to get some points and positions back. If someone spins out, if someone gets wrecked, I would like to be there in order to jump on that. And there it is. We're getting a little bit wide on this. We're going to lose some points. This is where we had a few drivers get past us before there. And there's iSailor as well. We're going to try to race them a little bit harder than some of these other racers just because they are the closest to us in points. And we're going to try to close the gap there a little bit. There it is. Do a little bit of blocking, but if we're not careful, they're going to completely wreck us out. So it is worthwhile to note that that is a risk that we could run into. Here we go, slide. And of course, we can't get the power down getting out of the corner because of the line that we took. And iSailor seeing the opportunity to try to get us in the outside wall. Not that great. Tap the brake, slide around. Hope. Almost got our rear end hooked there. That was not good. Now we are going to try to shoot the gap as much as we can. We should get some speed coming through here. Oh, iSailor right off the bat. Whew, and we got lucky. I was going to say we got lucky. That could have been a lot worse. Oh, John Burning is just being a big old jerk right now. They are our rival. Get off us, man. There's not much that we could do there. Unfortunately, we got turned around. Basically, our rear end got hooked. That was not great. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, things have gone from bad to worse. We're now firmly in the middle of the pack where there's a lot of bad damage up there. John Burning, unfortunately, with kind of where we were at with that, is making this a little bit more difficult. Keep us out of the wall, man. Keep us out of the wall. Don't drive through us. Not really sure why they are particularly upset with us. I guess we kind of got in the way. I was going to say that we were getting lucky there because we kind of swung around without getting T-boned, and then John Burning went in for the kill. Oh, man. Once this car gets sideways, it starts to slide a little bit, and that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Again, I'd like to stay in the top 10 if we can. That'd be very, very, very nice. But at the moment, it's unlikely that we're going to see that happen. John Burning trying to go in for the backside a little bit there. Now, of course, Miko trying to get in there and switch us around. That's all right. We were a little off the throttle more than before, but we were able to get out of that corner. We're doing okay. And we got Miko here on the inside. Oh, Miko punching us into the outside section there. Not ideal. We are firmly in 13th now with 3 laps left to go. And that is not fantastic. So now we are officially, oh gosh, we are overdriving the car. We got to calm down, take a deep breath. All right. Let's focus on our braking points and our acceleration points of our vehicle. We're generally okay. Again, because of the damage settings, our vehicle is in an all right position for the most part because of our impacts with the environment, I should say. And as a result, we're just going to focus in on driving consistently and driving well and trying to keep our vehicle out of the wall, out of the environment, and take advantage of anyone that gets wrecked, spun around, or anything like that. We can hopefully slowly reel ourselves back in here. First off, try to get a snipe up here and get into that 12th position if we can, and then try to work on the 11th there. After that, that would be all right. There we go, into 12th position. That's not too shabby. Someone got spun around back there. And now we have to work ourselves into 11th. You can see Beef Sack up there in first place. That's pretty darn cool. I'm pretty sure they're the ones that got wrecked out hardcore in our last race up there. So again, we're coming in a little bit tight. That's not good. We're going to cut it in, and there we go. Drifting out. Not the best corner. I'm pretty sure we got to dime that corner rather than trying to apex it. And we'll try to work through that if we can. But again, this corner here is huge because you want to carry a lot of speed, but if you get bumped on the inside, you will get shunted far out there, like what Miko did to us, and get through that entire sign boundary, which is not good. Brakes. A little fast, a little too fast, but it's all right. We saved it. Here we go. Full throttle. John Burning is up there. Just, oh man, really not sure what that was all about. It's really unfortunate that he kept trying to steer into us, or she. We don't know. We're making assumptions here. You know, they're a good racer, and thankfully they weren't trying to wreck us too hard, but they were trying to lean on us a little bit, slowing us down, and really just trying to assert their dominance over us, which is not ideal for us getting past them and going where we got to go. But we are in 12th right now. We're doing all right. Here we go on the brakes. There it is. Trying to feather that throttle again as much as possible. So if you hammer down too much, then you just go completely sideways through that chicane there, through those nice little 90-degree corners. And that's not going to get you the forward speed that you're going to need. And that's what this car struggles with sometimes. If you're not careful and you're a little overpowered, it is difficult to get going in a straight line. But we're holding our own. We're coming into the last portion. Here we go. The last portion here of this lap. There it is. A little bit much. Just slightly kissed the wall. But we're all right. We got Reflect up here. That's a cool name up there. Racing for a position. The more they race side by side, the better it's going to be for us. And unfortunately, that does not help us right there. We went in way too hot, caught that corner, and around we go. 14th, 16th place. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially at this point just trying to complete the race as much as we possibly can. There is chaos back here. This is the last lap. Everybody knows that we're rocking and rolling. And I mean, just like that, we're kind of back in, 13th place. That's not really the way I was hoping to do it. I was really hoping to kind of get past those individuals and get to 10th place. But at this point in the race, I will be very lucky to do that. Wow, we're cutting these corners just too tight. Ladies and gentlemen. We are off our game, and it is costing us positions, which is not ideal. Because down here in this 14th place, 13th place, the points aren't great. And unfortunately, that means we're likely going to run into a problem as far as trying to maintain that lead. Tire sales for days going around the corners. Again, we just can't quite get the power down. It's all right. It's kind of the lot in life that we've got right now. We can see 4 positions up there that I would love to get through, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Fingers crossed, we will see. Brakes coming in. Try to dime the corner out a little bit and then in a little bit. We overcooked it. That's all right. The goal here is to keep the position that we have, get as few of the points going as we can towards ourselves and not the other enemies that are out there. They opt for the other racers, as it were. That corner right there is not our friend. 123.088. We are 5 seconds off the lead for Beef Snack up there. Definitely the Speedies are doing a good job. Hollywood Hank finishing good. So is Nerds. Sure is Shroom Polino. Not great. Our standings were not great that time around. My guess is we're probably down in 5th or 6th place just based on points. So we'll continue to push on this. We'll continue to see what we can do to make this happen, but I have some concerns. So Fire Rock Raceway, again, not our best, not our best, or the one that we can go with. Words are hard, but it is a main circuit reverse. I think we might be okay with this. I would really like to see some dirt on this, but again, I think it's 100% tarmac, so we will see. Standings-wise, surprisingly, we're in 3rd, tied in 3rd with Hollywood Hank, with Ice Sailor, and Shroom Polino up there. Not too far away, but we got to make this count. We got to get on this to make it going forward, so we will see. So here it is. We're going to drive on through as much as we can. Fingers crossed, chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we can make it stick. I'm going to try to squeeze on the inside there. This could be bad. Not great. Tire sale for days. Ice Tracks again getting turned around. Oh, and flipped over. Bad news, Bears. That is a bad day for them there. And we're cutting in again. We're near the front. We just got to maintain this. We keep running into this up front where we make mistakes as a driver. And it is costing us positions. It is costing us points. This here is always a corner that we struggle with just a little bit. It's not too bad if you got the dirt track up there to go in, but again, that's not what we're rolling with. Mad Mac up here trying to throw it in reverse and slow us down. Hollywood Hank, again, who we are immediately tied with in our positions, getting up there ahead of us. The Rammer is a solid vehicle. The Rammer is a solid vehicle for days and days. Nerd is up there as well. So we just have to get going as much as we possibly can to make this work. Hollywood Hank is throwing the back end of that car around, really just hammering down, but that's all right. They got into the wall a little bit. We were in 4th place, trying to get Strike Enco up there. We will see how this goes. A slight drift, it tightens a little bit here. These cars are running into that as a challenge for sure. And we could not quite capitalize on it, but we are doing okay. Oh, we got in the back of Strike Enco. Not really what I wanted to do, but they checked up a little harder than expected. But hey, what's done is done. We'll continue to hammer on through and try to make the most of it. And we'll see what we can do. So we got Corn up here. I haven't seen them before, but they got a beautiful green paint scheme up there. It's a nice, beautiful scheme for that car, as well as a Nerd. And Nerd's car is really cool as well. It's a front-wheel drive. They're fun little vehicles. And they definitely don't have quite the same, back-end kickiness situation as you would expect. However, they do understeer like crazy. And they can definitely make that difficult to get around the corners. I'm pretty impressed. The AI is handling that car very, very well. We are just building up more and more momentum, sliding around, slightly touching the wall. It's a little hard to drive, and that is costing us time in the corners, but we are starting to get the hang of it. Again, it starts out shallow, tightens down a little bit. So here we go. As long as these two up ahead of us are continuing to battle, we will not lose time on them, and in fact, we will hopefully slowly build up the ability to get in there and bypass them. That is the goal. We can prove that we can win with this race. We just got to do it again, and hopefully one more time. Here we go. We've made a meal out of this corner. Not ideal, but hopefully we can get some speed coming out of this up into the up chicane. Coming up through here, these whoop-de-whoops, the right and left, up and over the hill. Really reminds me of a reverse version of Monza with a little bit less relief, and it's quite nice. The weight transfer that you get on these cars kind of going through these corners there is always a little concerning, but if you're aware of it, you can mitigate that just a little bit here, especially coming down this way. Yeah, we got a lot of vehicles. Oh, gosh. We are misunderstanding and misidentifying just how well the braking is going down there, and we went underneath Corn Pipo. Not ideal. I kind of feel a little bit bad. I know they're just AI drivers, but, I'm trying to think of this from an immersion standpoint, right? And we're not trying to drive through people at all, but the brake points, I don't know if they're changing as we're going through or we're just not paying attention. And that's possible. It is definitely the last one. I am very, very exhausted. But again, we're trying not to drive through people if we can because, well, it's not cool. It's not very, very sportsmanlike, even in a style of race such as this. And it is what it is, one way or the other. We got some race cars right behind us. We got to keep on our game. Otherwise, they are going to catch us. And so fingers crossed, it works out well. And ladies and gentlemen, here we come to the final corner. We've got just about 3 seconds or so on Nerd back there in second place, and we're doing good. Cars generally in one piece. And with that, we have gotten our second win of this racing series, which is pretty darn awesome. 57.655 for a time. Definitely not the fastest. Again, that goes to Beef Sack back there in the Speedy. But you know what? We're in first place. We did all right. This is not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. And of course, we got some more stuff for the Sunrise Super, which is what we're in right now. We're in full race spec for the most part. It's all right. But again, skating street parts is nice. So let's go take a look at the standings. I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty excited about this. This has been a fun series so far. Standings-wise, we are back in first place. Nerd finished not too far behind us. So did iSailor. I mean, they're only 30 to 40 points behind. And Hollywood Hank is back there tied for third as well. So a poor finish on our part, finishing outside of the top three. And one of these other individuals finishing in the first or second place means this is suddenly a race that we are not winning just yet. So we're going to the Motor City circuit again, main circuit reverse. Again, this is not one that we are very well adept at, but we're going to give it a shot. Fingers crossed. We will see how it goes. Again, we're going to try to do our best, not lose too many points. We'll see. I have some concern, but you know what? It is what it is. It's not racing if it wouldn't be a challenge. On the inside, we're going to kind of squeak through just a little bit here and hit the brakes. Oh, gosh. We're getting a little bit of help there getting around the corner. And Nerd and Mad Mac really bottling it up back here. Cars are going all over the place. No surprise there. Mad Mac, what are you doing? Nope. Nope. You try to cut me off like that, that's what you get. That's not even me doing anything. I'm just holding my line. And I'm trying to remember how this track goes here in reverse. I don't think I've raced on the reverse with this very often. Unfortunately, I am a little bit timid here because I do not want to wreck into the corners. Beef Sack there is really pushing hard, and that is not helpful for us. So there they go. Nerd and Beef Sack right off the bat with Corn in behind us. Oh boy, that's right. We got to watch out for these interior walls. We keep cutting them a little bit too close, and it's costing us positions. It's costing us points. It was a painful, painful experience. We could have been in the top 10 last time, and we really, really messed it up. I'm pretty sure at the end of this, we have a corner going to the right, if I recall correctly. And so we're going to hang out here on the left-hand side and start braking, Nope, we messed it up the wrong way. It's going the other direction. I'm having a huge amount of difficulty trying to remember where the track goes. But this right here, I know we can go full-on speed through. And this goes a left and then a right. There's that sign that really caused us problems last time around. So just got to be careful that we don't overcook it through here. Oh, boy, Corn trying to get us on the backside. And spinning themselves out and getting wrecked hard. Brakes. A little bit too early. Here we go. Make it pivot. Feather the throttle. There we go. Not too shabby. We got to just get the power on down. I'll be really excited if we can beat Nerd and Beef Sack up there, but I have a sneaky suspicion that is not going to be the case. Unless something catastrophic goes on, I just don't think, one, we have quite the car, as well as the car control or the car mastery over this particular track. I don't know it well enough, let alone in reverse. And while we are doing all right, we're keeping it off the walls for the most part. We are getting run down a little bit by Danilo Ghost, I guess, back there. We can't quite see him, so we do have a little bit of breathing room. It is just us up here. Oh, and again, into the outside wall, just smashing all the quarter panels there of that car. We're pushing it just a little bit too hard. Again, you got to start to pump those brakes in front of that throttle just to get this car to turn, but you can't hammer down on either of those, otherwise you go straight or the back end kicks out. And we're going to see if we can't catch up to these individuals. It might be a little bit of a wild ride, so we will see how it goes. And ladies and gentlemen, as we're coming up here on the last series of corners, we have not quite been able to catch up to Nerd. They're going to finish second here, and coming up quickly behind us is Shroom Perlino, so we got to keep an eye on that. They are right there. Nope. We're going to block them if we can. There it is. There it is. And we have secured ourselves a third place position. But again, the competition was pretty darn tight. Now, there were a bit more cars that definitely built up. You can see only 14 cars out of the 24 finished, so 10 DNF'd. But that's a lot better than it otherwise would have been had we been on realistic settings. Sadly, that's the way that it was. Now, take a look at that time up there. Beef Sack up there with 1:19.479. Again, 4 seconds faster than us on these technical courses. The short wheelbase really, really proving the point on just how versatile those little cars are. So there it is. We're getting some more goodies. We're getting some more stuff. Maybe we're clawing ourselves a little bit closer to that first place position. And we're 20 points ahead of Nerd, even though they finished a little bit ahead of us. Not too bad. And Shroom Polino there back behind us, a little bit further back than they probably would like. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, into the last race at ESPEDALEN Speedway Main Circuit Reverse. 6 laps, single heat session, 24 grid size. Let's dive on in. Fingers crossed we can make this work and we can just finish well enough that we can do a pretty good job here of being on top of this series. We will see. Deep breath in, deep breath out, throttle down. Here we go. Oh, baby. Outside is never really the best situation to go in, but I want to try to get around some of these cars if we can. Corner's going a little wide. We're just going to hammer down through the dirt and the dust. There we go. And, trying to get a return the favor, it looks like, with Corn trying to push us off the track. Oh, coming back in and catching us. That is painful, 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 painful. Oh, John Burning, that is definitely the individual. That's what you get. You try to wreck us hardcore, and that's what you're going to run into. That's what you're going to get. Oh, rivalries never die, I guess. It is what it is. We are in 10th place right now. Again, I've not raced this too much on the reverse slope of this track. These cars really, really like to drive in deep into these corners and go wide, which is a bit of a problem. Because if you're trying to do your best to really get in there and not run wide on this course into the grass, it is a painful, painful experience. Now we're back here in 11th, really just trying to get back into the racing line. And cars are just trying to drive through us just a little bit. They're cutting across and back and forth across the track. It's a painful situation. Here's a real, real hard corner to the right. If you're not careful, you're going to get punted off through that sign, back off in the distance. Our car is full of just a lot of dents and dings with parts falling off. Just trying to find the braking line that works for us to get through here. It's a little bit different than going through this on the proper forward reverse, or the proper forward circuit. Again, we are on the reverse. Our goal right now is if we can stay in the top 10, I think we'll be ish okay. I have some concerns. I would really like to be in the top 7 if we could. I think that would really serve us well, as Vincent just doesn't go anywhere. Oh man, Shroom Polino stuck behind Snipe. Looks like somebody lost a gear on their transmission is what my guess is. Or they just did not like Shroom Polino, and they're really trying to make sure they do not finish well. I will take it. That's not too shabby. That's not too bad. We've got lap 2 here in the tank with Admiral 1 trying to catch up to us and doing a pretty good job. Again, a lot of those V8 American cars have some really, really good power to them. This vehicle here, it does all right. It does all right. It's not the best, but it gets the job done. Now, we got to be careful here of cars flipping around, as well as getting into the wrong side of those rumble strips. because they will throw you around, especially if you got a car with doesn't really have a lot of really good bumpy suspension, like the Sunrise Super, which is a bit more focused of a race car, versus a lot of your crashers and banger style vehicles like the Rammer and stuff, which do have a bit more versatility and forgiveness in their suspension setup. Now, thankfully, we are making distance here in Admiral 1, and I'm always used to going into this corner looking for that 90-degree hairpin, but again, it's right here at the very end. Instead, oh, strike and cope. Come on, find the gas pedal. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We got to make this work. And they're just zigzagging across the track. Holy wow. And unfortunately for us, Admiral 1 is catching up as we dive into this corner here. We're overcooking it, so we're just going to throttle it up a little bit. We're here on the grass, no matter what we do. So we're just going to hammer on down and try to get some speed coming back onto the tarmac, the pavement here, as it were. There we go. And again, Admiral 1 in a Rammer, a solid vehicle every single day of the week. Now, we are going to try to undercut them, but we got to be careful. We don't want to cut into those barriers there. They are definitely not safer barriers. They will rip the front of your car off. And we're going to undercut here and be very careful trying to get through this point. But again, Admiral 1's in a solid, strong car, doing a pretty darn good job. Being in 6th place for us is all right. We're going to try to undercut here a little bit, and they're going to cut down on us and then go wide. That's all right. They're out in the grass. They're trying to hammer it in to try to make it work, and they're probably not going to be too far back from us. Unfortunately for them, they did get caught up in traffic, so that is a win for us. And unfortunately, we're going to overcook this corner a little bit. We do keep some of our tires here on the track. Watching out here for cars on the bottom side over there. That is going to be a huge issue because normally you can carry a little bit more speed through that location, and that's just not going to be the case for us going forward. There it is. The people that we're racing for are running each other off the track. That is all right. That's what I love to see, as long as it's not me. And there's Nerd up there combating with someone else I can't quite make out. And hopefully it's someone that we're racing for position. I'm going to get around this corner into the grass a little bit, watching those rumble strips again. Those will kick us sideways in a way that's not beneficial. Slam on the brakes, undercut it a little bit. Here we go, hammer down. Who is that in front of Nerd? I really would like to know. Doesn't make much of a difference, but the curious minds would like to inquire. Here we go, and we're going to try to get underneath Nerd. Unfortunately, they've got that power and the ability to get in there. And we're going to try it again here if we can. Nope. They're still got the power down, and they got the ability to maintain their speed. We're here on lap 5 of 6. Brakes, trying to cut under again without getting the car upset. And we got Nerd there. Oh, they are pushing us wide. Oh, Nerd, why would you do that? That is very, very vicious. They did not want us to get by there. And there's Shroompolina, who we are racing for position there in the Mini. And they're trying to run us off the track. That's all right. I mean, it's not, but we're still holding our own. The big issue we have is that they are very, very good through these corners. A lot more than we are, just because of the wheelbase and the way that car grips back there. But man, Nerd really, really had a good chance to just race us clean. I mean, they're not that far back on points, so they could have done a good job of trying to get this win from us, in all honesty. But instead, they decided to really just try to push us wide and off the track, and they hosed it up for themselves in the process. But we are racing Shroompolina here for position. As long as we're nearby that individual, I think we'll be okay. And I hope that's the case, because we really are overcooking these corners here, and we are really trying to block this car just a little bit. Oh man, and around we go. Hammer down into the grass. Here it is, Admiral 1. Oh, there goes Corn, spinning around. They can't quite keep it on the track. That's what we get for trying to block Shroompolina. Really doesn't do a good job. And thankfully, Hollywood Hank is behind us, so as long as we finish above them, we'll be all right. It is a drag race down to the next part of the track. Here we go. Into the corner, around it is. Stay on the tarmac, hammer down. Here it is, into the left-hander. There we go. We are on the last portion of this lap. We are pushing it, and if we mess up, we have a lot to lose. So here we are, trying to make this work. We don't want to wreck the car too much. If we can get in front of Admiral 1, that'd be nice, but again, we're not racing them for position in the championship standings. So as long as we do all right, we should be good to go. And ladies and gentlemen, there it is, across the finish line, lap 6 of 6. We finished in 5th place with a 1.04.541 position. A little bit better, just less than half of a second from the fastest lap, which was by Shroompolina, who unfortunately got ahead of us. Ice Sailor were racing, and Shroompolina were racing for position. The question is it enough points? for them to get past us. And we're going to find out here in just a second because I think that's going to be the end of the race standings. So fingers crossed. We finished in first place position, probably not by that many. And that's a pretty darn good way to go. 400 points. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby at all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of stuff that we can do here in this series, but that's all we're going to do here for today. What we're going to do, because we are a little bit close to that 2,600 point, we've spent a long time in the Pro Internationals, and we're going to have to spend a lot more time in the next series. I'm going to make sure that I can go in here and finish up a few more events to make sure the Pro Internationals gets completed, and then we're going to dive down to the World Masters, which I'm pretty darn excited about. It's currently locked at the moment, but that means no holds bar, driving through cars, everything is on the table. Proper top tier banger racing stuff. Follow ends into the corner, everything you can imagine, it is going to be available to document and dive on into. So fingers crossed, we will see how it goes. But again, thank you very much for stopping on by. Thank you very much for the views, the watch. It's fantastic. All you ladies and gents that are out there are amazing individuals. And thank you for giving me a little bit of your day, evening, morning, whatever part of the 24-hour period on the clock it is that you watch this. It is very much appreciated. Every single one of you. Thank you so much. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.